Okay.
Okay.
As soon as you stuff them.
Okay, welcome back. This is Bruce. I don't know if I've had a chance to meet everybody or not. And has anybody in the audience not, have I not, how do I want to say this? Is this the first time I am speaking to anyone in the audience? Let me know.
Mike Morris, Gail Tarson from Clovis Club. We've met you before. It's good to see you again.
But as far as Rotary Leadership Institute and our online training, is this the first time? Work with me?
No, we were in your RGA Class 1 during district conference here in Clovis.
Yeah, I'm concerned, I'm more, well, that's good too. Yeah, so I haven't had a chance to meet almost everybody because I just didn't want to have to go into a long dissertation about my history with Rotary, and so to speak, except to say that I'm really happy to be here. And my credentials, so to speak, for being here was, when we first started Rotary Leadership Institute, or President-elect Bobby Wallace asked me if I would set this up. We started in 2011. Jeff was one of my very first people I went to and said, would you like to be a facilitator? Excuse me. And so that's how we got started. And so I did that for 3 years, and at the same time, I was the membership chair for the district as well. So a little background on me. I've been a Rotarian now for 15 or 18 years, depending on how you count. Because I was an honorary Rotarian for 3 years before I became an active Rotarian. So, and I'll explain that to you at another time. We are now, and the next question I have for you, does everybody have a copy of Building a Stronger Club, which is our actually last lesson before we get to making a difference? Does everybody have a paper copy of that? Because we're going to be doing an exercise in which you get to scribble all over it.
We've got it.
Okay, good. All right. So what I'm going to do then, do I have, am I in charge now, Jeff? Am I in control?
You can share your screen at any time, Bruce.
Okay, that's what I'll do. I'm going to share my screen with you and bring up, that's a little big. Okay, and I should have gone there already, so excuse me while there we are. Oh, I practiced that for an hour. So let's start at the top of this page, and this last one kind of brings a lot of things together here. And you'll see in a minute what I'm talking about. Right under the title there, I love these little vignettes they have. And this one says, a new and old look at business-related activities in your club. Just that sentence alone, what does that tell you about what is the overall topic that we're going to be talking about today? What would the classification, if you will, of this talk? If we're talking about business-related activities, that relates to what in Rotary? One of Rotary's avenues of service. Anybody? Don't forget to unmute yourself.
Would it be service projects?
Could be, but I'm looking for something. I'm looking now for one of the avenues of service.
Vocation?
Vocation. Who said that? Is that you, Gail?
Leo.
Yeah, I'd like to
very
do
good.
that, but no.
Okay, so this lesson would fall under the general heading of vocation. However, as you will see as we go along, it also has relationship to membership, both retention primarily and also recruiting. So let's look at the session goals. There we go. We're going to discuss what Rotary clubs represent. Discuss what Rotary clubs represent to their target audience in business-related activities. We're going to be talking about the target audience very shortly. Then another goal for this lesson is for you to explore how the promise of business-related vocational activities affect the attraction and engagement of the club's target audience. And then finally, we're going to examine how clubs can offer real value to their members through networking and other vocational services. Whoa, networking. We have now come full circle, if you will, in Rotary. Can anybody tell me, in your club, do you do a vocational minute?
In the Taos Club.
Taos does? Great. Okay. Anybody else?
Clovis, we do it, but we don't do it on a consistent, regular basis. It's more of we use it as a filler.
Mm-hmm. Okay. At Del Sol, where Jeff and I come from, we used to do a vocational minute. I would say probably 10, 12 years ago. And it kind of went by the wayside. But now there are so many other opportunities. But what I wanted to point out was the vocational minute used to be the only approved, if you will, method of being able to talk about your business at a Rotary Club meeting. Because if you talked about your business in anything else except a vocational minute, what happened? What would happen to you?
Get fined.
You get fined, yeah, because you're not supposed to do that. For years and years and years, decades, millennia, if you will, going back to the beginning, to the cave times, 1905, we were told that the idea was people don't really need to know who we are. We don't want to stand out and be, and thrust ourselves in front of the public. We just want to do good things. And we're going to stay in the background. Well, that has changed. And for a number of reasons. But one of them is recruiting. People don't know who we are. As evidenced by, just after I came on, someone was saying that, they met someone, they said, "What's Rotary?" They had no idea. So Rotary's trying to change that. And one of the things that they're going to, and they're also trying to attract, as far as membership, what kind of members are they looking for now? Besides good Rotarians, but in terms of, if you're going to
Younger.
Right. And what do younger people need in their businesses? They need to
Network.
Right? They want to have the opportunity to do what? Network. Absolutely. And Rotary's making that possible now. So we've done a complete 180-degree turn here in terms of providing the opportunity at a Rotary Club and their meetings to be able to talk about what we do. So let's talk about this first topic here. Who do you think is our target audience, the target audience of our Rotary Club? Okay. And as they say here, to think about it another way, who is your Rotary Club's customer?
Bruce, did you want me to start scribing?
Not yet. Let me go to the next one, Jeff.
Okay.
Who are our customers? The club's customers.
Are we the customers?
Are we? What does we mean?
Like Rotarians?
The members?
The members, yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's very good. Absolutely. But are members, our current members, the only customers of our club? The only target audience that we're interested in?
When I think about when we're posting things on our Facebook page or posting on our website, I know we're trying to appeal not only to feed our Rotarians that are current members, but to feed information publicly to gain interest in our club or gain interest, like we talked about earlier, gain interest in a project that we might be working on.
Okay. And thanks, Gail. And what is the byproduct of that? Hopefully, if you get the word out, to outside of your club, you may attract what?
New members.
New members. Absolutely. Prospective members. So our target audience then are the customers of the club, and I'm very happy to see that you guys focused on this right away, because sometimes people say, well, is it the charities that we support? No, they're not our customers. Okay. Yes, they're interested in what we do, but the club could exist without them. The club cannot exist without its members. Okay. So the target audience is the current members and prospective members, whether they have already been introduced to the club or maybe they're out there somewhere just waiting to be invited to join a club. So that's our target audience. So the quality and the inclusiveness of the experience of being offered the opportunity to join a club it leads to the club attracting and engaging members and prospective members. And so to be a very strong club, which is what we're after in this lesson, with effective service, a positive public image, those things are attributes that are focused first on our members. And why do we need to keep telling our members why it's so important that they're in Rotary? Why do we have to keep reminding them and giving them information about what's going to happen and what's, in the club and what's happening in the district and Rotary International?
To keep them engaged and keep them interested in serving.
Absolutely. Thanks, Mark. We want to keep them engaged. We want to let them know that what they're doing is important. And hopefully we're meeting their needs as far as their expectations about what the club is going to do for them. But the whole idea is retention, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So our target audience is existing members and potential members, whether they be already introduced to the club or out there somewhere in the local area. Next question. Now here, Jeff, you can go ahead and bring up your notepad and you can start scribing.
All right.
What I want to hear from you in your clubs, does your Rotary Club set expectations with its target audience about membership in the club? And if so, how? In other words, do you do anything when you're recruiting members or when you're talking to the members? Do you do anything to set expectations about what they can expect to have happen in their club?
Bruce, a couple of years before I joined, they did try to balance the various vocational aspects from the community, banking, lawyers, education, etc. But I've understood in the last years they've put a little lax, that's become a little more lax because attracting members has become a little bit more than the diversity balancing aspect kind of it.
Okay.
And as I'm scribing, if I don't accurately capture what you said, please let me know so I can make any changes.
Okay, so looking for a balance of vocational activities and service projects. Okay, so okay, anybody else? When you're recruiting a new member, when somebody's going to join your club or shows interest in joining your club, do you tell them what they can expect in terms of vocational help, maybe with their business, anything like that? That anything that you do as a club, or maybe even it's not in vocation. What things do you tell them to be able to expect when they join? What can they expect to happen when they become a Rotarian?
Well, Bruce, this is Mike at Clovis Rotary. A couple of years ago, we set up a structured new member orientation plan, and thought that was such a good idea that we thought it would be even more beneficial to talk to people recruiting them and talk to them about the expectations of a member, the spirit of Rotary, that being service above self, and so on, so that they would understand that they weren't simply joining a lunch club, they're joining a service organization, and there would be various opportunities for them to serve locally and including abroad.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mike. And you said something there that's very important. And you mentioned a new member orientation. That's an expectation. When they come in, one of the first things we tell our new members is we're going to spend some time with you. In fact, Jeff does this. The first thing he's going to do is he's going to meet with them, sometimes at lunch, sometimes at a social gathering somewhere, and they're going to discuss what their expectations are. But one of the things they can expect from us is a fairly thorough orientation, so not just with our club, but about Rotary International in general. I think that's important. How many of the clubs that are represented here today actually do a new member orientation? Because that's an expectation.
House does.
Kaus, okay.
Clovis does.
Okay, super. Are there any clubs that don't do an orientation? Do you have something else that you do in place of that?
Tops does not, but they will.
Ah, very good.
Yep.
You get that, Mark?
Has one,
I've
but
already written it down. I'm already on it.
I'll tell you the story. I was, since I retired from the Air Force in 2000, I've been a trainer. And I do training for the U.S. government, both the Department of Energy and the Department of State. And for the State Department, I travel overseas. I'm in Bangladesh, sitting in my hotel room. I get an email from former Lieutenant Governor, now district trainer. Is this the last year, Jeff, for Bill Rothweiler as a trainer?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So Bill Rothweiler, and he's in our club. He's the district trainer. And it was his year as president. He sends me an email. I'm in Dhaka, Bangladesh, teaching a course there. And he says, I want you to put together an orientation program for new members. And this is in 2005. And I'd been an active member since 2000. The club was chartered in 1997. We'd never had any type of orientation program. I thought. Later on, I found out that we did have one, but it very quickly went by the roadside, and it just didn't get much attention. So that's how I got my introduction into membership, was creating an orientation program for new members. And from that, I became very, very much interested in membership. So anything else besides but there's a lot more things you can do as far as expectations than just orientation. Is there anything that anyone else does that to give members some expectation of what might happen, especially as it applies to their vocation? Anybody been a vocational chair, vocational committee chair? Do you have a vocational committee on your board? Chairman, chairperson?
We do not here in Clovis.
Taos
Okay.
does not either.
I was also a vocational chair for our club. That was the first job I had. And it really consisted of only two things. We have twice a year, we have an opportunity to go and have a Rotary meeting. We call it a retro meeting, where we go and we take 5 members from our club. We split the club up, and everybody goes to their place of business for breakfast, because we're a breakfast club. And they get to see how the business runs. Okay, I throw back to the old days when it actually was, the Rotarians actually went from one business to another. So that's about the only thing that I ever did as the vocational chair, though, except to recognize when some of our members were recognized in their particular vocational community. Let's say they get a national award. Don Chalmers, for example, was a member of our club before he passed away. And his auto dealership was recognized by the Ford Motor Company as the top dealership in the country one year. And I made sure that was publicized, and everybody knew it. And I think we actually sent that information to the newspaper as well, although they picked up on it anyway. So there's some other things that you can do. There's a lot of things you can do expectation-wise to try and get people involved, knowing that there's going to be an opportunity for them to maybe showcase their business or other vocational opportunities. We're going to talk about those here in a little bit. What type? Let's see. Here's an expectation. What about the expectations for new generations members, younger members? What are they looking for? We already talked about networking. Is there anything else they're looking for?
Future Rotarians.
Okay, they want to be a future Rotarian. And why, other than the fact that they like to network, why would they be interested in being a Rotarian?
Other than networking.
Yeah.
Community service.
Community service. That's true. They do want to serve. And let me ask you this: do you think they would be more inclined to write a check or to do a hands-on project?
Hands-on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. That's what they want to do. And young professionals, if they're just starting their businesses, maybe they can't write a check. Maybe it's difficult for them to do that. But they really want the opportunity to do hands-on projects.
I'm also looking for connection.
Okay, and connections. Okay. How about social media?
Oh, that's huge.
It is huge for them, right? They're connected. I think that's what we're getting at. They're very much connected in social media. So what does that tell us as Rotary clubs? What do we need to be doing?
Be on social media.
Absolutely. Are all of you pretty much on social media now? Is there anyone who is not on any type of social media yet? Everybody's doing that?
Yeah.
Okay. Gail, what kind of social media is your club using up there, Clovis, over there?
Well, we do a lot of regular postings on our social media. We're posting our programs with our student Rotarians. We post the programs of just whatever our general presentations are. Different articles, if there's something going on in the community that is specific to anything related to Rotary, we're using the social media to promote.
Okay, super.
Are you talking about like what types? Like, are you talking about like
Yeah,
Facebook?
what types of social media?
Well, right now, Hobbs is only on Facebook.
Okay,
But
that's a good start.
we do have plans to create a Twitter page, but we just need some more new generations to kind of handle that for us.
Okay.
Bruce, can I interject just for a second?
You may.
So I was going to mention this in the previous session. It was just kind of weird the way this worked out. But what's great about Twitter is that you can set it up so that it automatically copies over what you post in Facebook.
Right.
So
Yeah.
our club has a Twitter page. We have never posted anything on it other than what was copied over from Facebook. And we now have, I think, 800 followers. It's ungodly.
Yeah.
It's like we're looking at it's like and a lot of them are other Rotary clubs or people that are interested in Rotary. But we got all these Twitter followers just by setting up the technology so that it automatically copies over.
Does anyone have a Rotary Instagram page? I know that Instagram is really big with new generations, but
We do not have an Instagram page.
No. What's the difference between Facebook and Instagram?
Instagram is photos only.
Oh,
Yeah.
photos only. Okay.
Jeff, are you guys using Buffer to set up your Facebook and Twitter feed?
We are not, although we have a gentleman now in our club who's an expert, and he may make some changes.
Gotcha.
But not at this point.
Yeah.
That's right. In fact, it's too bad that I didn't get a chance to sit in on the last on any of the membership lessons that we did. But where was I going with this? I think my train of thought just left the station. But that's okay. This happened. Oh well. So, how does the promise of a specific or general vocational service activity or benefit attract or engage the club's target audience of prospective and existing members? In other words, if you do have some type of an expectation that is published and saying, this is what you can expect being a member of our club. We're going to do this, and we're going to, so forth. How does that promise attract or engage the target audience? Does that help, do you think, especially the younger members? I'm talking about vocational service activities, and we're going to talk about more of those here in a minute to be a little bit more specific.
Yeah, one of the things we've done is what we called Rotary on the Road, where the whole club went to somebody else's business to check out what they do and how they do it, maybe tour the business or whatever. And it gets people who might never, ever step foot inside that business the opportunity to go and visit and find out something different.
Absolutely. That works out really good.
We're doing that, John, next month. So that's great to hear that.
Cool.
Do any of you have mentors for your new members, especially the younger ones? No? Our club is getting back to that. In fact, that's one of the things that that Jeff is doing for our club. I started it, but it sort of fell by the wayside over the years. But you know, mentors, especially mentors that are in businesses that are related to the people that are being mentored, can be very useful. And what I want to do is, Jeff, can I go back to share screen again?
Yeah, you can just take it back.
Okay, let me take it back. I just want to take you to insert number. Let me see. It's building a stronger club number 3. If you'll look at that, I'm going to try and bring it up here. Oh, it says I can't start the share while you are sharing.
All right.
Okay, there we go. Okay. So let's go to that. We're going to talk about BCS1 here in a little bit. Okay, so here is insert BCS3, vocational service ideas. I just want to let you know this is here. And this will give you some ideas of what you can do to get the attention of some of the, especially the younger members in your Rotary Club, to provide them some ways that they may be able to advance their vocation. One is advancing high ethical standards. That's always been a hallmark of Rotary. Oh, and by the way, while I'm thinking about it, remember we were talking in the last lesson about elevator speeches? Recall that? I heard 2 people say, and Jeff was one of them, that in their elevator speech, they tell them that Rotary is the largest service organization in the world, and that's not true. At least it wasn't the last time I checked. With the way that some service organizations are losing people, it might be. But the last time I checked, we are not the largest. We are the oldest service organization in the world. I just wanted to put that out.
Well,
1905, oldest organization.
Jeff, what is the oldest then?
What's the largest?
The largest is like Lions or somebody like that. I really don't know who it is. We have 1.2 million. There is at least one other service organization out there with more than 1.2 million people, but they are not the oldest. We are. Even though they may have existed before 1905, they were not a service organization then. They were a social group. Okay, so back to where we were. Insert BCS3, some ideas. The classification principle, I think we're all aware of that, supports vocational ideas in that you can have classification talks. I said vocational talks, same as a classification talk. Another one, you can promote Rotary's commitment to high ethical standards comes back into play. Recognize and promote the value of all useful occupations. This all comes out of the basic Rotary. I can't remember. I've lost that name of that thing about Rotary that lists all the major things that they support. Volunteer your vocation. You can mentor a young person. Here's just a couple of things that you can do in addition to allowing your, especially younger members or all of your members, to connect with other people, in the organization regarding their vocation. Okay, networking. All right, let's go back. Okay, Jeff, you can come on back on again. Okay, there we go. So, well, I'll tell you what. I'm sorry, Jeff, I got a little bit ahead of myself. Let me have that back. Let me give control back again. What we're going to do now is we're going to do this other exercise, BCS2. I'll bring it back up again. Oops, went too far. There we go. Oh, by the way, this insert in your handout there, BCS1 on interconnecting relationships. I just wanted to point this out. It's kind of complex. We would, in the training business, we would call this visual aid busy. Okay. But basically, the thing to take away from this particular insert is that everything is interconnected. It starts with the Rotarian, and the Rotarian is supported by the Rotary Club and club associates. That's the leadership of the club. Also from Rotary International and the people that run Rotary International. And over here outside of the public relations clouds, if you will, either external or internal, these are our beneficiaries. These are people that benefit from what we do, right? Just remember that all these areas, these are all interconnected. And for example, the Rotary Club, as we already said, the Rotary Clubs, if we go back up here to our target audience, Rotary Clubs, target audience is their existing Rotarians and future Rotarians, okay? The target audience of Rotary International are Rotary Clubs and Rotarians, okay? How many of you receive the Rotary Magazine, for example? Everybody, right?
Everybody.
Yeah, everybody does. Okay, that is a method of informing your constituents, or in this case, your target audience, about what's happening at Rotary International. Okay, I also get emails from them. I get about 6 or 7 emails every week from Rotary International. I get twice that many from district. But that's because I'm on the district staff as an assistant governor. So, but I get plenty of information all the time telling me what's going on and keeping me informed about what's happening at the different levels, district, zone, all the way up to Rotary International. So I think the most important little piece of information on this particular handout is down here in the right-hand corner. It says there must be complete understanding and alignment in Rotary's distinctive position, which is what they're trying now to tell the world. Is, the complete opposite of what we used to be. We were just going to sit back, do good things, and weren't going to tell anybody. Now we want people to know what Rotary is all about. And our distinctive position in the world and what we do in service is what they're trying to get out to the world. So there must be complete understanding about the alignment of that between the target audience's perception and the internal reality. We want those things to match up. In other words, too often people have a perception of, what is the perception that many people have of Rotary? What have you heard? What do they think we are?
Lunch club, business club.
I don't want to offend anybody, but I heard it just yesterday that it's a bunch of old people.
Yeah, old white people in many cases.
Well,
here in the United States, but not so overseas, okay? Old white men in many cases. Many people think Rotary's all men. What it's trying to say is we've got to have, there needs to be understanding and alignment about our distinctive position, between the audience and the perception. Okay, so now let's go to BCS2. We're going to spend the last 15 minutes here doing this exercise, and we're going to do this as a group. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go down and we're going to look at each one of these specific vocational service activities, and then later we're going to find out how many of these things you guys actually do. One is scheduled networking event mixer. Anybody ever done anything like that? Where you actually schedule a meeting where you bring in people so they can network?
I don't know if I would call it that.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, we kind of did that last year, didn't we?
Yeah.
Very good. Okay.
Next year to try that.
Have you done it more than once?
No, that was our first time, and we're actually meeting next week to plan the next one.
Yeah, it went pretty well.
All right.
Yep.
Now here's one you may have done. A business minute or a vocational minute or a classification talk. Business minute during a club program. This is a little bit different. A business minute gives you the opportunity to get up and talk about what's happening in your business right now, or especially if you have something new that's happening you want people to know about.
We don't necessarily have a formal business minute program, but people use, at the end of our meetings, we do announcements, and people tend to use that last few minutes of announcements to promote different things that are going on with their businesses or organizations.
All right. How many of your clubs have a new generation committee? Ours does.
Taos does.
Yay. Okay.
Yay.
We have a new generation's chair.
Okay. Cool. Is there a committee working with that person?
No, she does it all.
Okay. All right. That's a good start.
We only had a chair forever up until this year, and now we have a committee. So don't give up.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Don't give up. We're on our second try now to get a satellite going, and with not only new generations, youth, more, but also gender. We're looking for more women in our club. How about a regular new generations led and planned service activity? Anybody doing that? Okay. I don't think we have, but I think we will. How about a structured club mentoring program? Okay. Our club is starting one again. We're starting it back up under Jeff's tutelage. The next one is an in-club leadership training. And I would say, I don't know if an orientation would count for that, but leadership training is like this, okay? It's like what we are doing with Rotary Leadership Institute here in District 5520. That's leadership training. Now, we talk about other things besides leadership, but it's all this information that would help a leader function well as club president, for example. A lot of information about how RI works, how the foundation works, and so forth. All important stuff that you need to know if you're going to be a good leader. Do any of your clubs do in-club leadership training? I'm seeing a lot of, I'm not hearing much. Okay. Next one. Sponsors. Okay. Does your club sponsor, this is kind of written weird, sponsors at RLI. Okay. So the Rotary Leadership Institute, our club pays the tuition for members to attend when they go in person.
Ours does too.
Not necessarily necessary for the online course, but because Jeff, there's no tuition for this course, is there?
Definitely not this year because it was a pilot. We'll see about next year.
Yeah. And if we do, I expect it's going to be much less than it would be for a live.
No, we're going to hose people.
Oh, we are.
Just kidding.
That's what
it'll either be no fee or it'll be minimal because basically the fees are just to cover expenses.
Okay. So, one of the ways that you can get your leaders and future leaders training is to send them to the Rio Grande Academy for RLI. Okay, that's what we're saying here. Our club has already gotten about, I think, 15, maybe 10 or 15 members through RLI. And in 4 or 5 of our members are instructors. The last one is New Generations led Career Day in schools for youth. Anybody participate in a career day at any of the local high schools? We used to, but we haven't done it in many years.
That's a good idea.
Great idea.
Oh, absolutely. And we did it in the school that we actually had a youth exchange student in. But when we don't have a youth exchange student in that particular school, it's dormant. Nothing happens there. Can anybody think of any other specific vocational service activities that they do that are not listed here?
Bruce, I would add internships to this.
Okay.
Because I know a number of clubs are getting really involved in internships where students can, through their Rotary clubs, work with people in their businesses.
All right. So add that as number 9, internships. That's the one thing I can't do is write in that, I don't think. No, I can't write in there. Okay. All right. Now here's what I want you to do. Now that we have talked about each one of these things, including internships, I want you to take about a couple of minutes and I want you to put an X. Notice along the top of the handout, BCS2 here. So schedule the networking event mixer. Is this something that you have promised to do and you have done and done well? Or have you promised to do it and you've done it, but you didn't do it very well? Okay, minimum effort. You've promised and to set the expectation, but it never happened. Or no promise, no expectation, but you do it anyway. You didn't promise it, it just happened. No promise, no expectations, and you don't do. I want you to go through each one of these, including the internship one. And I want to put you X in everything, in any of those boxes that you do not do. Or I should say, put an X in every box that you do do. If you promise it, if you do poorly, let me make sure I got this right. Okay. I want you to put an X in all the blocks that are not applicable for your club. And leave the applicable spaces blank. This is something that you do. Take just a couple of minutes to do that and let me know when you're done.
Mark, I'll do them for us.
I'll let you.
Yeah, and if you got more than people want, yeah, if you want to kibitz, be my guest. Just go ahead. If you're the same club.
Do that.
How are we doing? Need more time?
And
Okay. Now, tell me this. Do you have more X's than you have open spaces? Which is common. Which will say that you don't do much of these things.
No, we don't do very many.
When you look at your chart, what is it telling you?
ours is about 50-50.
Really? That's pretty good. And is it promise, do, and do well, or there are some in there that maybe not so good?
There's actually 3 on the promise, do, and do well. And then there's 3 on the other end of the spectrum, and then there's just 2 in the middle.
Okay.
So I was kind of surprised by that once I did that.
Right. Anybody else want to share?
Jeff, I don't really want to share. Most of our checks are in that far right column. So great opportunity, I think.
Okay. So in other words, a lot of no promises, no expectations, and you don't do them.
You don't
Right?
do, yeah.
What do you think is the worst as far as retention? If let me ask you this. How does the dynamic between what is promised and what is actually delivered affect the attraction of new generations, younger prospective members? Yeah, Mark says way down the tube. I think probably the worst thing that can happen, and it's just my view of this, is you promise, you set expectations, but you don't do it. Okay. And what happens to your newer, especially your younger new members, what happens to them when that happens, when there are expectations that are not fulfilled?
They lose interest.
And that means
They go away.
they probably go away. You've all seen the stats. Half of our members that we lose, 50% of the new people that come on board leave within how many years? You know?
The first year?
3.
Oh,
First 3 years. And part of the reason is there are promises and expectations set, and some of them may be not, really concrete, but just they had expectations about what Rotary was all about that were never fulfilled, and so they're gone. Okay.
I can speak on that because I am fairly a new generations person, but I would have left myself if I would not have got involved in this leadership role.
Okay.
Very honest.
That's right. There needs to be something tugging at you to stay. In other words, there's got to be a hook somewhere to keep your new members on board. With me, it was the service. I also enjoyed the fellowship, but the opportunity to serve the local community was a very big draw for me. And so everybody has their thing. You just got to find out what it is. So we're almost just about out of time. So what I want you to do now is I want you to each list 3 activities. You can use these, or if you have one of your own you can think of, that's great. I want you to list 3 activities that your club can realistically do to meet the vocational service expectations of your members. And you can use, if you want, you can just use this chart and circle things. Or you can write in the bottom of it or whatever. And I just want you to take a couple of minutes, pick 3, and then I want you to report back. And I don't think we need to. This is just for you, okay? So we won't write all this down unless you want to. Do you want to have this captured? In which case, I'll have.
We don't have the time, Bruce.
Okay, all right. So we're out of time. So let's go ahead and do the 3, and then let us know. And I take a couple of volunteers to let us know which 3 you picked. Mark, are you done already?
I'm done.
Which ones did you pick?
Mentorship, business meeting minute, and career day.
Okay. Anyone else like to share?
I selected business minute during club program, regular new generations led and planned service activity, and in-club leadership training.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah, Bruce, in Clovis, I don't think Gail and I are in complete agreement, but we selected New Generations Committee, regular New Generation led and planned service activity, and then scheduled networking event mixer.
Okay, super. Does anyone else like to share before we close?
Yeah, Bruce, I only see 2, the structured club mentoring program and the in-club leadership training. We do some of the business minutes just through our networking. It's sort of informal, but those are the 2 I see we need to improve on greatly.
Okay. I think any one of those 3, any one of the ones that you've chosen will go a long way to helping you retain the members that you already have. And if prospective members know about this, then that becomes something that they may take on as, hey, this is a promise. This is something that I can expect to have happen, that I'll add to my own expectations, and it will help you keep those new members. And my timer says my time is up. So with that, I will relinquish control back to Jeff. And you want to take another quick break, Jeff?
Yeah. Does the group need a break?
Thanks, Bruce. Yeah, I need a break.
All right, let's take a couple of minutes, and we'll reconvene no later than 5 till.